cutting edge guests, awesome, uncensored, jaw-dropping information, plus funny memes, good deeds, and loads of laughter. Kind of have it all. Ladies and gentlemen, if your soul's awake, then welcome, because you're in the right place. Well, good day to you, ladies and gentlemen, and boys and girls, and welcome back to the Sovereign Soul Program, a show which stands for love, levity, and liberty. Because after all, love is the greatest power everywhere, and laughter is the best medicine, especially covering serious topics in all matters ancient, current, and quantum, right? Absolutely. Now, this is a mantra our Bling Buddha, who you see behind me, he subscribes to as he fires red pills from his 9mm and smiling, as we all should. He's wearing massive blinged out gold and silver necklace with a digital asset token hanging from it. I'm your host, Brad Wozni. I'm grateful to you, divine lions and lionesses, for tuning in, for those returning back, and for those of you, divine masculine and feminine protectors and guardians, holding the line in the spiritual war, the spiritual terrorism that's been waged on us. I am fortunate to become a Reiki master in 2015, and my soul's purpose is to help uplift humanity's consciousness with song and story. With this stated, time to go to an economic show today. Now, 7 days ago, I posted, will we see the collapse of the stock market in the next 7 days? Hey, look at this. We're all still here, and it is barely there, hanging on by a thread. Currently, where we are right now, there are 4 quadrillion global derivatives and debt outstanding, according to one economist. That is 4,000 trillion. Now, remember, to make up a trillion, you need 1,000 billion. And to make up a billion, you need 1,000 million. That is insane. The RICO case with JPMorgan Chase and Bank of America and others is still set to wrap up soon. That's what we think and we're seeing out there. And again, this is the RICO case for those massive banks who are price fixing and have been caught, hands in the cookie jar, once again, no surprise, for suppressing and pushing down the price of precious metals, silver and gold. We're speaking to you here on Friday, September the 9th. This is a day after they finally announced Queen Elizabeth dead. Now, that announcement was made yesterday, 17 months after Prince Phillip was announced dead. It was also exactly 911 days, 911, 911 days after they launched the COVID pandemic of March 11, 2020. And by the way, coincidentally, not a coincidence, it is 1,776 days after the first Q post, or 1,776 days after the first Q post, they announced Queen Elizabeth's death. What does that mean? Well, we know about the City of London. We know about Vatican City, the city-state. You're very open and aware of the District of Columbia and why that's not part of the United States, not part of the 1776 Declaration of Independence. It is part of the 1871 Act, where the United States became a corporation. I just had Derek Johnson on. You all know him from A Country Singer. Well, his video just went viral with 350,000 views explaining why President Trump is still under military law, the president, and President Donald John Trump had never lost the presidency, and that there are patriots and white hats in control by virtue of what is going on and what you see now. And hey, if that was not a signal right there with the numbers, I don't know how else you could put it into play to show people that for the majority of the world, we are winning. You got to stay vigilant. And I've always said, health is wealth, and then you got to protect your wealth, right? Because we're still in a fiat currency system at this moment in time. Now, let me take you through the precious metals, the updates, and why so many people feel that we are days away, hours away, could be just a few weeks away from the massive collapse. Let me take you first to the most recent update from an interview guest that we've had many times on the show, Dr. Kirk Elliott, a 2 times PhD, sovereign economist, great wealth advisor as well. He advises everybody from a grandmother with $300 in their bank accounts to benevolent billionaires. I'll share that screen with you.
Pulled out of the way and on you go with your life, right? It's kind of quick. A collapse is like the twins coming down in 9/11, right? Where it comes down, there's just rubble everywhere, and it takes forever for the cleanup, and then you have to rebuild. See, what I'm seeing happening in the economy right now is not a market crash. I believe it's a market collapse, and you're going to have a reset. There's going to be things that need to be structurally changed with our debt, with our currency, and everything else to actually rebuild what had come down. So what I'm talking about here is 10 things or so that I think a collapse is we're getting dangerously close to. So number one, the government is telling us that the unemployment rate is only 3.7% in August. Well, one of the people that I get a lot of my data from is John Williams, Dr. John Williams at shadowstats.com. So honest numbers, if we were looking at honest numbers, including, people on disability, people who have been so discouraged from even trying to find a job that they stopped looking. Well, the government doesn't count them anymore, but are they working? No, they're not working. So they should be considered in unemployment. When you add all those people up, that comes to over 24% of all working adults in America are unemployed. That's 1 out of 4 people, if you look around, are unemployed. About half of all US companies right now saying that they're going to be eliminating jobs in the next 12 months. Doesn't look like we're in a recovery, right? They're going to be eliminating. That's 1/2 of all the companies. As I've talked about a lot, the official, CPI inflation rate's 8.5%. So again, Dr. John Williams at ShadowStat says it should be somewhere around 17%. My algorithms that I put together in my doctoral dissertation, it's not 8.5%. More than double that. It's more than double that. And my numbers show that we're about 2.8 times that is what the real number should be. There's a large company in America who actually, when you have worked for a really big company, you get kind of really good benefits, right? Well, they're right now giving out short-term loans for groceries, and that number has doubled this year. I mean, we're not talking about rent. We're talking about a loan to feed your family every single month, right? 1 out of 5 home sellers, in the United States have dropped their asking price this month. Okay, so this is the last 5 months in a row, the number of new mortgage applications is down. But now we're looking at 1 out of every 5, 20% of all the houses for sale in America are now starting to lower their price because people aren't buying them. They're not looking. So much for the huge, massive bull market in real estate that we've seen for the last decade. When you put a house on the market within 24 hours, you get an offer that was greater than the asking price, right? Those times are done with rising interest rates. And what we have to keep in mind is that we've only had 4 rate increases so far this year. 1/4 of a point, 1/2 point, 3/4, and 3/4, right? Well, the Federal Reserve at the end of last year said they were going to have 8 to 10 rate increases this year. We're only half done. We're only half done with the rate increases for the 12-month period. And we're already seeing this devastation starting to happen in the real estate market. It's like 2009 on steroids when you had the big, huge market collapse in 2008, caused markets to come crashing down in 2009. We're seeing something that's actually significantly worse than that right now. A recent survey found that 3.8 million Americans believe that they could be evicted from their homes within the next 2 months. Why would 3.8 million Americans say that they're going to be evicted? Well, it's because they haven't been making their payments. That's why. So now you've got even more stress of capital inflows on the banking system because people are defaulting on their loans. They're late on their payments. Not only are homeowners late on their payments, that 3.8 million of them think they're going to be evicted. The National Energy Assistant Directors Association has a report that approximately 20 million U.S. households, not people, but households, are currently behind on their utility bills. Which means they could shut off their heat, their air conditioning, going into this fall. It's like, that's a lot. 20 million households. I mean, I
just want to share with you. Yeah. And in the UK, there's reports right now of the bills being up to 5 times. In fact, there was one article that came across. There was a cafe owner outside of London, and her bills the prior year had been about 14,000 pounds, British pounds, right? And now they're over 45,000 British pounds. So her bills had nearly quadrupled for electricity based on this crisis. And it's not a crisis that we, the people, created. We allowed it to be created, though. It is the crisis that the World Exorcist Forum and all of their cronies have enacted on the world in an effort to force people to submit, to control, to give up the property. Remember, Justice Minister David Lametti in Canada, the version of the Attorney General of the United States, said, "I don't believe Canadians have the right to own property of any kind." And they've been coming after our property, whether it's real land that you own, your cars, your vehicles, weapons, as we've seen, Castro's little Justin Trudeau. So here we are today, what we've been saying since the beginning on this show, what I've been saying for 3 years in a few friends and family, that this is coming, and this is coming at a level that I didn't see over a year ago, but you can certainly tell. This is the ultimate collapse. Listen to a little bit more as Dr. Elliott explains. Again, great guest. You can go to kirkelliottphd.com/silver. Very simple URL. Remember, shopthebuddha.com/get silver. You can go there and you can set up a free consultation with his firm. They are so busy that you likely will never get a call back. That's how busy they are right now. So if you schedule a call, you go to that page, you schedule a call, stand by and make sure you have it. That's exactly where we are right now, folks. My voice, I've been speaking a lot with a lot of guests, and I'm about to begin on the Truth Tour, Lewis Herms. So I'm just going to allow a little bit more of these videos to share information as I protect the voice, as well as there's been an inversion in the weather here too. And we'll continue here as well with Dr. Kirk.
Imagine, an average household has maybe 3 people in it, maybe a mom and dad and 1 kid. So you add up the number of people, that's 60 million people. There's a little over 100 million people in America. That's 1/5 or so of all the people in America are late and behind on their utility bills. These numbers don't look good. But what about Bidenomics? I thought that things were doing okay, that we were in recovery, that we're in a post-COVID world where people are now working, that people are hiring. The numbers don't show that. Obviously, we all know that mainstream media numbers and the messaging are lies, but these numbers don't lie. The Dow Jones Industrial Average has fallen for 3 weeks in a row, but before that, they were only up for 3 weeks, and before that, they were down like 5 or 6 weeks in a row, right? So you're looking at 6, 7, 8, 9 out of the last 12 weeks that the Dow Jones Industrial Average has been down. Okay, that's a horrible sign of a recession, that we're in a bear market, because in a bull market, you'll have 2 steps forward, 1 step back, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. In a bear market, you can have 2.
Okay, we're going to move on from here. Now, in addition to that, what I've been saying for months on the show are the addressable rate mortgages coming up. Are the real estate bust. I haven't said the arms are going to come up. The real estate bust and the massive collapse. And sure enough, here we have Bank of America, all the major banks, Wells Fargo. There are millions of mortgages that are coming due right now, September, October, November, where the interest rates are almost triple. For many of those mortgage holders, tripled than what they were, the fixed rate. They're not able to pay that either. So there's a massive collapse. These are the terms we're using here, not a crash, a collapse, a colossal collapse in the works to come into play right now. Let me just take you through here as well from, again, U.S. Marine Corps veteran. You also may know him as Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki, what he is sharing on a most recent show with Stansberry Research. And they're actually talking about his tweet here, where in his tweet it reads, 2008 was great time to get rich. Everything went on sale, borrowed millions of dollars buying real estate bargains. 2013, I published Rich Dad's prophecy predicting bigger crash coming. That crash is here. Millions will be wiped out. Please do not be one of them. Time you get richer. Now, I share with everybody on my last update 7 days ago, Friday, a week ago, that I had learned in my honors economics degree that I had started at the public indoctrination camp of Wilfrid Laurier University in Canada while I was in the infantry. I began down that path in economics. And Henry Dent is the guy where I read Boom, Bust, and Echo, and I did a paper on it. Well, he was on the show recently, and he literally shared that this is the crash we've been talking about. Now we're calling it collapse. Listen here as the reporter speaks to Robert Kiyosaki, U.S. Marine Corps,
obviously been worrying a few folks,
investor,
you're saying, look, guys, the crash
author.
is really here. The big crash that you've been predicting, stocks, gold, silver, Bitcoin, real estate, all crashing. But as you say, now's the time to get rich. So before we talk your book, just a little thoughts about where your head is at these days, your thoughts on the economy right now.
Well, as I've said many times in your programs, very simple point of view. I simply don't trust my government, especially this character Biden, and I don't trust the.
Remember, the term government is based on two Latin terms, governus mentis. Governus means to control. Governus is Latin for to control. And mentis is Latin for mind, to control your mind. As he said, I don't trust my government.
Fed, I don't trust the banks, and I don't trust Wall Street. So it's pretty simple philosophy. In other words, what I say, every time I'm on your show, if you can print it, I don't want it. So if you can print the dollar, I don't want it. You can print a stock, I don't want it. I want something I can see, touch, and feel, or like our friend Jim Record says, what's real? Find out what's real. So as you know, I've been a gold bug since about 1971 when Nixon took the dollar off the gold standard.
All right, so that's another thing, right? It's kind of like an eagle. I remember there in Successories, those cups and those motivational posters. One of those posters says, eagles don't flock. You find them one at a time. But what do seagulls do, right? What do sheep do versus the sheepdog and the herders? So that's the imagery that comes to mind when Robert Kiyosaki, and thank him for his service because he signed up for the U.S. Marine Corps in Hawaii, to go to Vietnam, right? And then he was given honors to go to West Point Military Academy as well. Many people don't know that, but I share with you. So, it's kind of like, where are the sheep going? And then do the opposite almost. Well, where are the sheep still going? When you look at mainstream news still today, they're talking about the stocks and the stock market. They have financial advisors, investment advisors. I've had Dr. Elliott on who said, yeah, you know what they're going to do? They're going to tell you to do gold or silver index funds, ETFs. Why? Because they get a kickback. What's the problem that we've seen with the RICO case being prosecuted by the Department of Justice? And this is a racketeering, an organized crime case. RICO, look it up, folks. That goes global for banks and investment banks in the United States that have been suppressing, pushing down, modifying, and ripping off the hardworking sovereign souls of this world. All right. So when they go index funds and ETFs, guess what? Dr. Elliott shared an example that, hey, it's almost like if you take your IRA, your 401k, and you turn around and you purchase an index fund or an ETF, what's the problem? If you wanted to get that physical money back out, they may not be able to give it to you because they took the 1 ounce of supposed silver tied against that, like fractional reserve lending, and then they lent it out 5 times, hoping that all 5 people didn't call in their sell order on the ETF or the index fund at the same time, because it's not there in a depository. And that's why you need to go to it. Matter of fact, you can go to, if you're American and you have an IRA or a 401k or savings account, there's some great news for you. Because things are scary out there, and because the Biden administration's printed more money in the past 24 months than the previous century combined, and the national debt hit a record of over $30 trillion, highest inflation that you've ever seen of all time. So if you have retirement savings, your money is literally, this is what I'm saying, is literally at serious risk if you're in the markets. Dr. Elliott's even said stocks are toxic. So what you can do is you can speak to my friends at the gold company to see how you can protect your retirement, gold and silver, before it's too late. You can go to buddhalovesgold.com. What you'll see there is you can get a free gold IRA kit, and they will give you $10,000 or more in free silver when you open a qualifying account. Who wouldn't want 10 grand in free silver? So that's buddhalovesgold.com. buddhalovesgold.com. You go there to the gold company, they take care of you, AAA rated, over 1,000 5-star reviews, fantastic. And by the way, as well, if you are outside the United States, you can go to shopthebuddha.com/getsilver and speak to Dr. Elliott's people. So we're covering the bases here, whether you're around the globe or you're an American with an IRA or 401k, and you want to get up to $10,000 or more in free silver when opening a qualifying account, you go to buddhalovesgold.com. And this is what we're doing by taking it back. And you get to own, this is what's key, like what Dr. Elliott has shared, you own physical silver bullion, physical precious metals, because the fiat currency is pretty much no more, right? We just saw that with Dr. Kiyosaki. Matter of fact, let's talk about more of the government corruption that's going on as why you need to be aware of this, okay? So we've spoken about Ripple, XRP, SEC, Bitcoin. I've had Jimmy Valley, friend on the show. Jimmy is the founder of Val Hill Capital, investment banking firm, venture capitals. And he's basically, to me, he's like God's investment banker. All right. Had Mark Bauer on the show, who's also the director of operations and a former tier 1 operator. Red pilled himself by watching Fall of Cabal and tried to disprove it in 2020. He couldn't. Eyes are wide open. So with RippleXRP, there's the SEC case that Jimmy has brought forward to our awareness about how there is massive corruption at the government levels of the SEC, where they are friendly to Bitcoin and Ethereum, which in public documentation we're seeing now, Bitcoin and Ethereum is owned up to 40% owned by JPMorgan Chase and the Communist Chinese Party. So much for the sovereignty in those type of cryptocurrencies, right? Well, what the SEC did, as a recap for anybody who hasn't been on the show yet, is the SEC launched a lawsuit against Ripple, that's the company, and their cryptocurrency, XRP, again, American company, and because it was beating Bitcoin and Ethereum hand over fist up until 2 years ago, and they launched a lawsuit against them. Well, here's where that lawsuit stands. By the way, you can go to one of our sponsors, BiTrue. This is the international exchange, because again, as a Canadian and a sovereign citizen in the world, you should have the ability, should you choose, to go outside your country, outside its confines, and do things via the law of mankind, of the sovereign soul. So you go to BiTrue, BiTrue, you go to BiTrue, you follow the link here on shopthebuddha.com, and you can get up to $3,000 in awards when you open a qualifying account there too. And you can do so with even $1. So go to that. You can open an account. This is where you can get XRP, because everything we found in the United States and in Canada, you're not able to buy XRP. Why is that? Perhaps it's because at the highest levels of government, they are preventing you from doing so. Take a listen to this from Digital Asset Investor as he shares on a tweet that just came up most recently.
This is what caught my attention more than anything this morning from Jeremy Hogan. He's retweeting one of James Flynn's updates. And he says, circle September 19th as the day we get to see most of the cards the parties are holding. Ripple versus SEC, the end game. It's getting me excited. I'm weird like that. It's getting a lot of us excited out here. So yeah, I went to, I was invited to go to the Sologenic meetup. They had.
So that's a pretty quick update, but a very powerful update. You can go ahead and do your research and find out who that gentleman is. He's extremely high up in the case. Now, we've got XRP as a cryptocurrency where you could buy tokens for, 34 cents right now, US. And we've seen many times and shared on this program that people have thought and feel that once the suppression comes off on that, and there's also an XRP buyback for the investors that were defrauded by the SEC in the law case that's been brought forward. And by the way, some of what I'm stating are items that have come out in the discovery process on this case and that Jimmy has presented on this program. They might buy back as high as $30,000 per coin. At least that's the offer that Jimmy Valley had shared with them in terms of the $9 trillion in counting damage that the SEC has done to the Ripple XRP investment community. And that's why we are seeing people who are saying XRP could be $200 to $500 per coin very quickly from 34 cents. From a galactic standpoint, from a cosmic standpoint, we've got messages that the Ripple XRP system is a Pleiadian system. It is a Pleiadian technology. Powerful things, folks. And I've already made the distinction to think of it like this. Imagine you had Ford's Model T and the Ford engine in a Model T at the very turn of the century. So imagine that analogy is Ethereum and Bitcoin. And all of a sudden you came along with a brand new 2022 car, an Audi S5, for example. And I'll continue using that. Well, the Audi S5 2022 is like a RippleXRP. All right. It's like the Ripple company creating the product XRP. So wouldn't you want the RippleXRP? Now you can see why so much has been disclosed in this case, as to why they don't want this out there, including members of the government who have colluded, which has already come out to light, which have colluded with private companies and banks to suppress RippleXRP and also pump up the price of those they're friendly with. Interesting, right? All right, now we're on another sovereign investor from who shuns Wall Street, which is wonderful. Gregory Mannarino, I referenced him a week ago in my last one. And I've been sharing, hey, the market's going to crash from a real estate standpoint. You can look at the residential and commercial mortgage-backed securities in the paper, and you can see that for years leading up to this. Well, sure enough, he sets the alert. Goldman Sachs warns a severe drop in real estate could be a black swan event. And then again, Goldman warns real estate demand could crater. Of course, it's going to crater from demand because you have 60% of American households living paycheck to paycheck. 1/5 of those of American households can't afford their utility bills. And you've got a major corporation in the United States who's handing out short-term loans to their families to buy freaking groceries, right? And now we're talking about another bank bailout, folks. Another bank bailout. So watch out. It's going to get freaking spicy. Okay, so remember, my friends at the gold company at BuddhaLovesGold.com. You go there, they'll give you 10 grand or more in free silver when you open a qualifying account. Any Americans with a 401k or IRA, you get your free gold IRA kit and up to $10,000, potentially more, or silver. This is here while we are attempting to help humanity crush this cabal system. And I was just on with Jason Reed yesterday, and this was forwarded from the Q side. So this is the first time I'm ever going to read something from the Q side on an economic update. Actually, probably the first time I've ever read anything from the Q side. And it's extremely important to know, folks, since London Bridge has fallen. I opened with it, so we're going to close with this now. All right. And here's the message that came across. Now, the death of the Queen, the announcement, right? It ensures the collapse of the world cabal deep state regimen. With 14 countries controlled by the Queen, including Australia, New Zealand, Canada, these certain countries are heading into a republic state who long wanted freedom from the British control and the Queen. What this means is the GDP of these countries are into the trillions, will stop paying the cabal-installed royal monarchy regimen, which means the holdings of the British Empire and the companies in these 14 countries around the world will stop the slush funds connected to world money laundering operations through the UK, Canada, Ukraine, Russia, Germany, Australia, Switzerland, New Zealand, Australia, South Africa, and the Vatican. The Vatican is in fear of losing the assets and control through the world. They have asked State Street, Vanguard, BlackRock to return assets back to the Vatican Bank as the world collapse continues. Final two paragraphs. With money seizing and quickly disappearing through EU countries, NATO, UN are inside a battle to gather money, and the infighting is out of control as Germany hides their last crates of gold. Switzerland hides gold. Vatican asks for all assets returned and stored in the Vatican Bank. And now, with the Queen dying, the announcement, the countries of Canada, Australia, and several others are breaking away from the cabal-controlled monarchy, and money is quickly running out. Germany is expected to be the first EU country to fall in the central region with military martial law beginning. France is to follow, UK to follow, Italy, and then the final part of this report that I'm reading to you folks is the next stages of desperate attempt by the DS to sway attention away from the collapse is to create an event, a scare event. We are inside the storm of the century. Buckle up, buttercups, and be sure to stock up on foods and goods and take care of yourself. Take care of yourself. Health is wealth, and make sure that you have taken care of your wealth. You've heard it from so many people that I've had on. So much information that we've published. The fiat currency reserve system, as we know it, the US backed petrodollar, or the US petrodollar is gone. It's gone. The Russian ruble, months ago in June, became the #1 currency in the world because it's backed by gold. They unplugged Russia from the SWIFT system on March 22, 2022 this year. They said, fine. They created the BRICS. Now we have all these BRICS countries and almost 4 billion people on the gold-backed standard of the BRICS countries. That's over half the world's population, as they tell us. So, folks, any Americans, yes, it's getting scary out there, scarier, but hey, stay in the law of faith over fear, because you're taking control for your sovereign self. You're responsible for you. So if you have a 401k or IRA, which is, if it's in any of those toxic stocks, to use Dr. Elliott's language, then go to buddhalovesgold.com right now. Get your free gold IRA kit from this amazing company. Find out how you can protect your retirement account now with gold and silver before it's too late. Any of you who are outside the United States, give Dr. Elliott a call. All the information is right here on the URL. And if you want to go ahead and buy XRP, and since you can't do it on any exchanges right now that we found in the United States or in Canada, then you simply can go right now and score up to $3,000 in rewards when you register at BiTrue's global crypto exchange. That is at shopthebuddha.com. Get 3K rewards. The number 3, get 3K rewards. It's all here on your screen. Folks, you got to take the bull by the horns here. Some people are saying it's hours away by the time this broadcast is up, or at least weeks away. But we all feel that this collapse is about to happen right now. So make sure you've taken care of yourself. You cover yourselves with love. You love bubble yourself. All right. Love bubble means you just imagine this incredible vibe out there, and you protect yourself from what is to come, because it's all been planned. The spiritual war on humanity, and we as sovereigns stand up when we take control of our sovereignty and we move forward and help unite with others. All the best, everybody. Many blessings. Have a great, safe weekend ahead. And please do like, share, and subscribe to help out family, friends, and other members. Thanks for joining us on the program, ladies and gentlemen. Please like, follow, subscribe, share this with 9 friends and family. And of course, if you enjoy our blinged Buddha firing red pills from his 9 mil, let us know.